Yeah. Well, even the Aussie fans started screaming about the Wars, so it definitely became a thing over here. As for Webster, I'm really glad he got the Coach of the Year award because I was screaming out from the halfway mark of the season.
Hey team, welcome back in for another off-season footy yarn. Today I've got a very special guest, as you can see, the one and only NRL insider extraordinaire, Mr. Tony Adams, aka the Moly. Thanks very much for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, my pleasure. I love all my followers over the Tasman, and you guys have been through a lot the last few years, but I guess you were all on a high leading into 2024 after the deeds of the Warriors last season.
Oh, mate, it's like it's erased the past 30 years of pain, I tell you. Looking forward to a big one. But, hey, it's been really good to have some sharing some banter with you over the past few months on X or Twitter, whatever you'd like to call it these days. So I thought, why not get you on for a bit of a Aussie perspective? We're a one-eyed, Warriors fan, so we think everything's gold. But I'd love to get your thoughts on how the boys went last year and what we might be able to add this year to go one step further. But before that, I think a lot of fans over here in New Zealand have heard of you, but maybe don't know too much about your roots. I was wondering if you could share a little bit how you actually ended up being the mole and getting into the NRL media.
Yeah, well, I started out my journalistic journey, shall we say, 40 odd years ago. That's how long I've been doing
Wow.
this. Back on Rugby League Week in the early 80s. Then I went to the Daily Mirror. Then I went back to Rugby League Week. And we came up with this idea of having a column called The Mole. This was before the internet, of course. So the Mole was born as strictly a newspaper column. It was supposed to be a big secret as to who the Mole was, but like if I wrote something bad about Des Hasler in the Mole, Des would ring me the next day. So it was a pretty poorly kept secret. So in the end, I outed myself, and once the internet started, I even put pictures of myself up because the jig was up, so to speak. And the sales of the magazine were going down, and Twitter was at that stage going up. And so I started putting stories on Twitter, which was sort of unheard of back then. And my bosses were saying to me, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your good stories on Twitter? But see, Rugby League Week only came out once a week, whereas Twitter, as we know, you could put something up 30 seconds after you found out about it. So I just loved the immediacy of it. It was something so new and novel that, the fans obviously took to it. And I've got nearly 170,000 fans. And I like to say my claim to fame is I've got more fans than the Broncos. So not many people could say that.
Yeah, mate. It's interesting. I used to look forward to every week the Rugby League Weekly coming out back in the day in the 80s. But I first recall your name popping up right in the early days of Facebook, and a couple of guys in Warriors groups were talking about the Mole with these insights into who the Warriors might be recruiting. And I had no idea who you were because I wasn't on Twitter back in the day. There was this great mystique around it. It was really well done to the concept.
Yeah, well, I think that's what the fans crave, isn't it? A bit of inside mail, juicy chat, and I can tell you the question I get asked more than anything else in rugby league, and you hit it on the head there, is who is my club going to sign for next season?
Oh,
The
mate.
fans can't get enough of it. Even now, people are asking me who we're going to sign for 2025, and we haven't had a ball kicked in 2024. So fans live in hope, and they want their team to grow and get better. And in rugby league, there's never a dull moment as far as the transfer market goes. As we know, you just got to look at Adam Fanua-Blake. Up until a few weeks back, we all thought he was going to stay a Warrior for the foreseeable future. Then he was going this year. Now he's staying this year and going next year. So, like I said, never a dull moment.
Yeah, same with what's his name, Braden Hamlin-Uele. Everyone's saying he's signed, then it's gone quiet. I mean, that's what I love about rugby league, and I think the NRL have done bloody well over the past couple of years to get the hype to the extent that we're what 3 months into the off season and nothing's really stopped. The banter on Twitter and the Facebook groups just keep churning over. So it's a credit to them with the product they put out that's kept people engaged the whole season, the whole off season, I should say. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that the thing in the rugby league's favour is today we got the Australian Open final, and it's between a Russian and a guy from I don't even know where. So it doesn't have the interest that tennis might have had in days gone by. The West Indies in cricket have been going okay, but I think people are generally sick of cricket already, and everyone's saying, let's kick off rugby league. I saw someone put up only 30-odd sleeps till the first trial and 35 or so till Vegas. So, yeah, it's sneaking up on us, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's been a bloody long time for people like myself who, once the season kicks off, I don't really watch anything else for the 9 months it's on. But just out of curiosity, who was your team back in the day before you kind of had to become a little bit more neutral?
Mate, I grew up a mad Roosters fan, living in Roosters territory. Guys like Artie Beats and John Brass, Billy Mullins were my heroes, and I was lucky enough to watch them win the comp in 74, 75 under Jack Gibson. Probably one of the best teams ever. When I started working, one of my best mates has been Tim Sheen, so I was a Raiders fan back in the day when they were winning comps. Then I was a Tigers fan when Tim was there, and it's been tough going, let me tell you, the last couple of years. And when they sacked Tim at the end of last season, and don't believe the talk that Tim resigned, he was sacked. I've sort of decided I need to find a new team, and I think I'm going with the Doggies, but I do have a soft spot for the Warriors, as most Aussie fans do.
Good on you. I started out with the Tigers myself back in the day because I'm from Upper Hutt and we have the Upper Hutt Tigers and had plenty of Upper Hutt Tigers go over there like Sam Stewart and, no, actually he was Ramwick, Adrian Shelford and Morven Edwards. A few guys made it over into the NRL there. Same jerseys as the Tigers, but I was always transient. Like I went to Mountie for a while with Graham Lowe and the Knights when Kempy was there. But ever since the Warriors came out, I just haven't been able to give it up. So on that topic, I'd us Mad Warriors fans and the Kiwi media got pretty excited last year with what Webby did, and I was really keen to get someone from the Australian media who's knowledgeable and pretty neutral to kind of get your thoughts on kind of three key perspectives, if you wouldn't mind. Is firstly, what you saw from Andrew Webster and what you thought he did to turn the boys around, what you thought about the on-field performance, and just like the movement sort of that took off towards the middle of the season there with the Up the Wars.
Yeah. Well, even the Aussie fans started screaming about the Wars, so it definitely became a thing over here. As for Webster, I'm really glad he got the Coach of the Year award because I was screaming out from the halfway mark of the season when looking back, everyone tipped the Warriors to be probably bottom four, and he had them in the top four. So they're always saying, Ivan Cleary, how can you go past him, Craig Bellamy? But to me, the team that were the real surprise packets and improved the most were the Warriors. And if you're looking for a Coach of the Year, that's what you look at. And so to me, he was a fine winner, Webby, but the pressure's on him now again, of course, and that's the beauty of rugby league. The pressure never stops. And the one danger I think you guys have got, I think you ambushed a few teams last year, and I think the Dolphins did the same. You look at the Dolphins, they started sensational. I'll never forget that round one victory over the Roosters. That was just stunning. No one saw that coming. And you guys were a bit similar. I think everyone over the years, the Warriors have not been an 80-minute team, have they? Let's be fair. They've struggled to go the distance. And I can tell you, Sydney teams, Aussie teams think if you stick with the Warriors up until about the 60th minute, they will fold. And for the last 20-odd years, that was the case. But last year, something different. They showed a real steel, a real resolve, and they finished games strongly. And the number of games Sean Johnson won them at the death, it was great to see. Again, can they do it this year? I guess time will tell.
Yeah, it was interesting. I spoke to a few of the players over the season, had asked them what the difference here was with the fitness, and they basically said Webby came in with a very football-focused approach that even before the Christmas, everything was just like game intensity. Everything was a competition. And they said they've never been thrashed harder, but had more fun. But talking to Jazz a couple of weeks back, and he just said, like, even then they knew the levels weren't there to match it with the Broncos and the Panthers. So this year, apparently they've gone even harder. So that's one area I'd love to see them continue to sort of dominate. As you say, finishing games stronger than Sydney teams is not something we've done traditionally. So it was fun to watch.
Yeah, that's right, and I think that's why people thought that they were the real deal, because that's really what separates the good teams from the ordinary teams. I mean, you look at Penrith in last year's grand final. I mean, I put up with 20 minutes to go, they're gone. The Broncos have won this game, and normally I sort of, when I end up with my foot in my mouth, I take those tweets down, but I left that one up because I think the whole rugby league world agreed with me when Ezra Mann went try. Everyone thought, this is it. The Panthers' year is over. But full credit to Nathan Cleary and the guys around him. They refused to throw in the towel, and what a finish we had. And good luck to the Panthers. They were too strong in the end, but I sort of feel for the Broncos. I think they've
Couldn't
had the
happen to a nicer
off-season
team, mate.
now.
It's interesting, like, I was in Japan, I was still following the Warriors, but Webby never really appeared in the media here when he was assistant coach. So I didn't know anything about him before he'd signed. It was just, for a couple of years there, it was Ciraldo, this, the next big thing. Had you actually heard much about Webby before he came to the Warriors, and was there a bit of an expectation that he would develop into this sort of level of first grade coach?
Yeah, it's a good question. I hadn't heard an awful lot about him, but I'll tell you one thing. When Canterbury signed Ciraldo, someone said to me, the Bulldogs have signed the wrong Panthers assistant coach, pointing to Andrew Webster. And I thought, I'll just put that away in my memory bank. And, I think Cam Ciraldo is a fine coach, and I think this year we'll see the Bulldogs do a lot better, but my mail was spot on. Webby's done a great job, but as I've said, this year the pressure's on again from day one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting, and we're kind of lucky. It's been a disadvantage over the years with some poor ownership, but now it seems Robbo's really given the whole reins to Cam George, to Webby and Cappy to run the footy business the way they see fit, and a lot of it they're giving Webby the full reins to set up his team, whereas Ciraldo's having to deal with Gus over his shoulder and all the boards over there. So I guess it was a little bit easier for us to turn it around, and I feel for the Bulldogs fans and St George and the Tigers and the like, because having those boards, it's a pretty heavy weight to have on the back of any head coach who's trying to turn a club around.
Yeah, that's right. And the great Jack Gibson said you need a good front office. And I think, those three clubs that you mentioned have struggled in that area. Whereas, as you say, with Cam George there, he's a good operator. Cappy, I know very well. He's great with the pathways. So he's obviously got a good team around him, Webby. He's got the confidence of the board. And hopefully things stay that way, and good times ahead.
So on that note, just to kind of to wrap things up, from a neutral's perspective, what do you reckon? What's your prediction for where the Warriors might finish up in the regular season this year?
Yeah, look, I can't see any reason they won't do very similar to what they did last year. I guess the big question mark is Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. He's been out of the game for a couple of years. I'm not a big fan of rugby union. I reckon it's done him more harm than good. So he's probably got a bit of work to do to get back to the level he was at. He's over 30 now. But if he can find some form, I'm assuming he'll be playing centres the way Charles finished last year. But, he's got that aura to him, doesn't he? And he'll have the confidence of the blokes around him. So if he can have a big season, it's a massive bonus for the Warriors and, one up on where they were last year.
Yeah, by all accounts, it's like he's come back after a sabbatical that completely refreshed, and apparently he's just carving it up, basically leading the way in pretty much everything they do. And similar to Chanel Harris-Tavita, the boys who played with him before have just said he's never looked fitter, stronger, more excited about the game. So I think those two guys are real solid additions, along with Kurt Capewell. So I struggle to see, like I see a certain member of your fraternity picking that we wouldn't even make the 8, probably down around 12. So I find that hard to swallow. But, I think it is going to be bloody tight between probably about 12 through to the top 6 again this year. There'll be a couple of surprises, but I think we're building. I'm pretty confident we'll make the 8. I'd love to see us get at least in the top 6.
Yeah, and you mentioned Capewell. I think he's a real good signing. He was one of the secret ingredients, I think, to the Panthers and their success, and then the Broncos. He's again a good hard pro, and I think it'll be great for him. He'll be good for the young forwards there. And, he's good off the field. He's a great trainer. So he's the sort of bloke you want in your club. And, he's well over 100-game veteran now, which is always good to have in your forwards. So I think he'll be one of the signings of the year for sure.
What do you make of the Braden Hamlin-Uele thing? Do you think he's a good fit for us?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's got a bit of work to do on his fitness. I think he's a few kilos over, but he's a good size, as in tall, strong, probably, as I said, a little bit wider than he should be, shall we say, but definitely got the skills. And you're obviously looking for a replacement for Fanua Blake, and he could be the one.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to be realistic. The Adams or the Payne Haas's of this world, the hen's teeth material, and they're all on halfbacks money. So I think it, reportedly 730 or whatever, that's about market value given the cap going up. So I agree. When you look at how many guys last season played career best footy under Webby, and hopefully a few more will this year. So I reckon you can web him up and take him to the next level. So thank you so much for your time, mate. I know you're a busy man there. I really do appreciate it. I'd love to catch up with you maybe again during the mid-season and get a fresh take on how we're looking and any other insights you might have for the boys along the season there. Feel free to tag me in. Always keen on a bit of an inside knowledge on who we might be signing for 2025.
For sure.
All right, check out Moly. I'll chuck his what do you call it, your Twitter at there. Are you on anything else there that people can give you a follow on?
Moly's on Facebook too, yeah, and but Twitter's my main avenue. That's where I tend to use most, and I've got to keep out of those Broncos, so jump in and give me a follow.
Most definitely. I'll share it out there and we'll pop this up and put the link in there. Thanks again, Tony. It's been great to talk to you. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
My pleasure.